Mick Foley, aka Mankind, aka Cactus Jack, aka Dude Love, is a legendary professional wrestler known for his hardcore style and willingness to put his body on the line for the name of entertainment. Foley's dedication to the craft of wrestling and his willingness to push the boundaries of what was considered safe or reasonable has made him an icon in the wrestling industry. However, this dedication to his craft also took a severe toll on his body, and Foley is now widely regarded as one of the most physically battered and bruised wrestlers in history. Foley began his wrestling career in the late 1980s and early 1990s, wrestling for various wrestling regional promotions before signing to World Championship Wrestling in 1991. Foley's time in WCW was short-lived, as he was released in 1994 due to concerns about his style of wrestling. After WCW, Foley would have battles in ECW and in Japan, until then signing with the WWF, now known as the WWE, in 1996, where he would achieve the greatest success of his career. During his time in the WWF, Foley became most known for his comedic, lovable characters and most famously his hardcore style of wrestling, which involved using a variety of weapons such as chairs, tables, and barbed wire in his matches. Foley was also known for his willingness to take dangerous bumps or falls in order to entertain the fans. One of Foley's most famous matches took place in 1998 at the King of the Ring pay-per-view, where he was facing The Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell match, and during this match, Foley was on top of the cell and he got thrown off of it at the height of 20 feet through a table. Later that match, he was also thrown through the cell all the way down to the ring, landing on a chair, and if you believe it or not, this all happened within a 5-minute span. And when it comes to crazy bumps and falls from Mick Foley, this is kind of just the beginning. Although Foley wasn't a bad wrestler at all, and quite better than most wrestlers today, he quite depended on his body to do the job. Due to his lack of in-ring ability, Foley would often severely damage his body and sometimes go to the very extreme. Throughout Foley's career, he would compete in dozens of death matches. And what's a death match, you might ask? A death match is a match with no disqualifications, no countouts, and it's essentially legalized assault. And in 1995, he competed in the IWA King of Deathmatch tournament, and just this night alone, he had 3 crazy death matches. And in the final against Terry Funk, Foley would take a really crazy bump. On top of being dragged through barbed wire and more, he would take a back suplex on a pile of pyro explosives. Foley suffered burns to his arm and face, and the explosion caused the ring to fill with smoke. Also, as we've seen, 1998 was a crazy year for Foley bumps. It wasn't just him getting thrown off the cell. On the February 2nd edition of Raw, Mick Foley and Terry Funk were trapped into a dumpster by the New Age Outlaws. The New Age Outlaws would then go on to push the dumpster off the stage. The angle was played out to seriously injure the two, and even the locker room came out to add to the realism. Although Foley wasn't seriously injured, he has gone on to say that his initial reaction was that it didn't hurt enough to look good. And with that mindset, it's clear why Foley has the reputation he does. And not even a full 2 years later, after his hellacious war with The Undertaker, Foley would then take in another Hell in a Cell match. Foley and Triple H were going to have an unforgettable match. They both took their fair share of punishment, and after getting thrown off the cell a year and a half prior, Foley will look to outdo himself. While battling on the cage, Triple H will hit Foley with a backdrop all the way through the cell, and Foley will go through the mat and lay there in what was an unreal visual. And in storyline, this was Foley's retirement match, but as we know, he did not stop there. As Foley got older and wrestled less, his spots got increasingly wild. At Backlash 2004 against Randy Orton, Foley was going to take several crazy bumps, getting thrown against the stairs and taking a crazy thumbtack spot. And with Foley getting older and realizing he had had a significant WrestleMania moment, he and Edge decided to go all out. At WrestleMania 22, Edge and Foley were going to have a hardcore match. From barbed wire blocking spears to chair shots, this was special. Foley, being the hardcore legend he was, finally got his moment. Foley would get speared through a flaming table in what would become one of the most famous moments in WrestleMania history. Overall, Mick Foley's willingness to take such brutal bumps have made him a legendary figure in the world of professional wrestling, while his willingness to sacrifice his body for the sake of entertainment has been criticized by some. There is no denying that he is indeed the hardcore legend.